Welcome to Sip Wisely, where we celebrate bourbon in all of its forms, from the legends you love to the emerging gems, including Missouri whiskey. I'm Jonathan Lee, your guide on this flavorful journey. Together, we'll dive into the stories, craftsmanship, and flavors that make every pour something special. So, pour a glass, settle in, and let's sip wisely. Hello, everybody. Been a while. Welcome into Season 3 of the Sip Wisely podcast. My name is Jonathan Lee, and I am your host. Been on this journey for 2 seasons now, getting ready to start the third. Super excited to bring these distilleries to you. In particular, this episode, as it was a really cool experience. What you're going to be listening to today is our conversation with Brittney from Old Dominick. We were fortunate enough to go down to Old Dominick and select a barrel for A1 Wine and Spirits. We had 3 members from the St. Charles Bourbon Society join us, and it was fantastic. They had some great barrels for us to choose from. We went through, deliberated, discussed, him and Hod. Had to taste more, because we just weren't sure. Oh, darn. But Brittney was fantastic, and John was there too, and it was just a lot of fun. And so after the tasting and the selection, I sat down with Brittney, and we had a great conversation. She told us all about it. Now, of course, I'm using new equipment this year. Every season, it seems like I've upgraded my equipment to kind of bring a better experience to the listener. So I'm still working with it. Apparently my microphone was not actually connected to the camera, but it's not about me. It's about Brittney. So her microphone was connected. So you hear her loud and clear. You'll get the story. You'll get the information about Old Dominick, and that's really the important part. So unfortunately, you don't get to hear me throughout the interview, but I think some of you are like, all right, good deal. So what's cool about this is the 250th anniversary project that A1's putting out. It's coming out on June 11th, which, if I plan this appropriately, is today. And so you should come out to A1 Wine and Spirits on June 11th from 6:30 to 8:30 as we have our bottle share, and we are going to introduce this bottle to the world, and it is amazing. I've got a bottle upstairs on my counter, and it is fantastic. So definitely want to enjoy. There are definitely limited bottles. Once they're gone, they are gone. It is a bottle we hope that you want to keep because it has a commemorative sticker on there as well. And so hopefully you can come by, pick it up. If you are listening and you are a St. Charles Bourbon Society member, you do get a $5 discount. So come check it out and enjoy this episode as I have a great conversation with Brittney and learn all about the history and the product of Old Dominick. Enjoy. All right, so welcome into this episode of the podcast. I am sitting here with Brittney with Old Dominick. Brittney, welcome. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
No, thank you for having me.
This is our first one, so she took a couple shots before we got on camera. But luckily for her, the camera is just really formality. The audio is all we really focus in on. So,
here we go.
Brittney, we are in a very historic building in Memphis, in Old Dominick. Give us a real quick overview of where we are, a little history behind the brand.
Well, Old Dominick's been around since 1866. So you're going on 186 years worth of history with just the name Old Dominick.
Thanks for the math, because I wasn't going to be able to do that.
Oh, I'll give it to you right now. There it is. But you're going on almost 200 years worth of history in just a name, which to me is very impressive. So whether we start with what made us known, which is going to be the Old Dominick Toddy, or we get down to what made Old Dominick whiskey actually a whiskey, which back in the day in 1859 would have been our whiskey blend that we got from Kentucky that we sold in our ceramic jugs on our grocery cart. It comes down to the finality, which is the Old Dominick name, right? Mm-hmm. Old Dominic name didn't come around until 1859, which is when his uncles actually sold him the brand of, hey, we want to get rid of us being a part of this business. Can I sell this to you? And at 24 years old, he goes, yeah, I would love to buy it from you. So he started the Old Dominic brand in his name at that time with his brother Peter. Okay?
Yeah.
And they were continuing on with the Kentucky brand of blending the whiskeys in the ceramic jugs, getting their wine from Italy, which is where they're known from, right? There it is. And after that, they started taking their spices and all of their orange peels, their grapefruit peels, all that stuff, and they're going to ferment it like they would a wine, which they got from where they're from, okay? Which is where you get the Old Dominic toddy,
Okay.
all right? So think of it as a fermented whiskey. And at that time, what was the pandemic happening? Yellow fever. All right, there we go.
Yeah.
And if you have grandparents, like I have grandparents, they still have that old whiskey jar in their refrigerator, right?
Yes.
And it's funny if we're actually going to get down to the actual history of it. To this day, my grandmother still has it from her great-grandmother that had it in their refrigerator, all right? In 1866, yellow fever is going on here in Memphis. Actually, we lose our charter to actually sell liquor, but physicians, even though we only had 2 or 3 at the time, they're recommending the Old Dominic toddy, okay, as an actual medicine. It's a fermented whiskey. You could literally go to Walgreens at the time. I don't know what that's called, but think of it as a Walgreens. It's going to be it's going to be a Walgreens, basically. There you go. You get a shot of toddy, and you're done. You go back home, you're good. We started selling the toddy as an actual cordial, which is going to be 60% proofage, considered very low compared to our whiskeys and things like that we were selling at the time, which is going to be a blend on our whiskeys because we're only getting it from Kentucky. So from there, we're going to go into the ratification of the legislator of Prohibition. Thank you, 1910. Thank you, E.H. Boss Crump, because what were you? You were not only the fire chief, you were the police chief, you're now the mayor, right? So when the legislation of Tennessee was like, oh, guess what? We're not going to actually sell liquor. We're going to put a pause on that. You know what E.H. Crump did? He goes, oh, you know what? Instead of bringing it through the front door, bring it through the back. That's totally fine. Here enters the speakeasies of Memphis. What were the main roads at that time? Front, what you're on right now. Main Street, road over. And then you have the alleyways. Outside of that, you have Dr. Martin Luther King, which was not going to be around for another 100 years at that point. And then you have a couple other main roads, which is going to be Union, Monroe, and Madison. Exactly. So we're going all through these roads, no problem. Alleyways is where we're going to actually bring in all those jugs of whiskey.
Sneak it in.
We're going to sneak it in through the back. And then in 1918, there was an Outers Law. Actually, yeah, the Outers Law is going to be passed through Tennessee, legislator, which is going to say that, oh, if any law official does not want to follow through with the laws that we have put in place and the stipulations that make them an honorable person to stand in office, they're going to be able to be removed. You know what E.H. Crump did? He said, you know what? I'm going to resign. So before he could actually be removed, he resigned. He resigns. And 3 days before the ratification of the law, which was going to be prohibition, so before that actually happened, Domenico Canelli died at 75, off Madison in his Midtown home. At 75 years old in 1919, are we mad that we died? Absolutely not. Nobody lived that long at that time. We are making millions, not only selling groceries and beverages, we're selling whiskey in the Wild Wild West. He had 5 sons, 3 daughters, who had 13 grandkids between all of that before he died. Oh, we are living large. He lived a large life. So he passed away 3 days, 3 days before the ratification of that law passed, and we're going to go from 1919 into 1933, which is when the Prohibition law was abolished, okay? It's gone. In 1933, we're going to move on into 2017, which his great-great-great-great-grandsons were like, you know what? I really like what we're doing right now, which is selling groceries and beverages and all the things that we're doing at the moment. But I have a passion project I want to start up, which is what my great-great-grandfather did. How can I be a part of that? So we're going to go through the warehouse and Healing Station. There's a desk. What's inside that desk? Did John tell y'all? Ah! Okay, so what are we most known for? Dominic Toddy, correct? Guess what was in that old desk? 2 bottles of unopened 1866 bottled Dominic Toddy. Did we have that recipe? Absolutely not. It died with Domenico Canali.
Wow.
So you know what his grandsons did? Great-grandsons did.
Drank it.
Oh, they opened it up. We had 2, right? What are we doing with 1? We trying it, huh? We trying it. I don't care if it's bad. We're going to try it, right? We're going to try it. They tried it. Terrible. It's fermented fruit and whiskey. It's obviously going to be terrible, right? It's obviously going to be terrible. You know what they did with that second bottle? They sent it off to UC Berkeley. You know what they did? They tested it, and they gave us a recipe that is 97% with what the original recipe was. Although it's not 100, it's 97% correct, right?
Yeah.
Tested 3 times. All right? So we took that recipe, we gave it to our master distiller at the time, which is Alex Castle. Thank you, Lord, for her, because if not, we would not be where we are today. Thank you, Lord. But we took that recipe, we gave it to her, and that is where we got the Dominic Toddy recipe. That is exactly where we got it. We've had that recipe since, what, 1866? We're looking at over 100 years old, right?
1866.
Yeah. 1866.
It's amazing.
When he took those spices and those peels from his citrus fruit that he was selling on that grocer cart into that whiskey, which was a Kentucky blended whiskey.
It's amazing.
And made it himself. And then you had the yellow fever. And they took that toddy and they were like, oh, you know what? Prescribe it as a teaspoon of toddy at a doctor's office. We're going to prescribe you a teaspoon of that. It became a medicine. Here in Memphis. There it is.
That's amazing.
It is pretty cool. It is pretty cool.
I mean, we've done a few of these, and I don't think the history has hit as well as that one. I mean,
Thank you.
That's pretty. I mean, it's entertaining, but
Thank
it's
you.
pretty amazing. They were just. I'm going to open up this drawer in this desk and find some really old stuff. And then
they never thought that they would, but they did. And isn't that not cool?
It absolutely is.
Because they thought that that recipe was lost to time.
I'm glad that somebody had the forethought to send it somewhere to figure out what more it was.
Exactly.
Continue on, 'cause where would we be now, right?
Exactly. We would not have the Dominic Memphis Toddy. Yeah, we would not. We would not.
Be here. But we are here. And so when you think of Old Dominic, when people go into the stores, right? And they see the label, they see the brand, and they're like, should I purchase this? What could they expect? What should they expect from that history, from that love that goes into this whiskey?
In my personal opinion, and I've lived in Memphis for a very long time, when it comes down to history, oh, honey, I'm Southern, just like the thickness of molasses, if we're going to be real about it. It's there. But if I'm going to be real about it, when I think of Memphis, I think of a robust and complex, not only city, but people. And so when I'm tasting whiskey, bourbon, whatever we have to offer here, I want these same notes, the same opinion of the city to come out in what I am tasting. So I want that robust, I want that complexity. I want all of those notes to come out before I taste anything else after that. So whether it be sweet with a bourbon, or whether it be a spice or leather flavored whiskey, I want that front to be what the city has to offer from the get-go, which is going to be a robust, complex city. which you're going to have to sit with for a second to actually understand. And I think that is what our whiskey and our bourbon actually has to offer. Yeah. Even before you, I mean, obviously you offer vodka and a gin, but when it comes down to what I am most proud of to sell and to be here with you explaining with our Tennessee whiskey and our wheat whiskey and our bourbon, I want that authenticity of the complex, robust flavoring to forecast what we've aged it in to make it a Tennessee whiskey and or a bourbon.
And I will freely admit that I am new to the Old Dominic brand.
Okay.
And today and previously been very impressed with the complexity
Cool.
and the just the overall flavor has been on point. And you know, I can't really describe it now that I've had a few beverages because of our
Just a few.
But I mean, it's been very good on the palate. Long linger, and just overall flavor bomb.
Yeah.
And it's been really good. So why we are here today is we are picking a bottle for A1 Wine and Spirits in St. Peters, Missouri, and the process we went through to pick this was very robust.
It was.
Very in depth. And thank you to you.
Thank you.
Providing us with a tour.
Of course.
And the history. And if you are not, or if you have not come to Memphis and toured Old Dominic, I would highly recommend it. You have to ask for Brittney, but you know she works every day, pretty much. What she said.
I'm only off on Sundays.
But she's fantastic. And so, I mean, just going in through the aging warehouse on top floor, where you have some, I mean, it was really cool to see just the process, the different, like, almost experiments that you guys have going on almost.
Of course, and we have, and what we showed you up there is like, even though there could be a whole spiel that we give you, we're coming up with different ideas for you to be incorporated in what we have going on up there, which I would love for y'all to come back and actually showcase what we have going on. So stay tuned for that. But other than that, yeah, it's fun. It's cool. We want to incorporate you, but not only that, but we're going to keep continuing on with that brand of we have something to show you. Just give us 3 months. Yeah. Give us 6 months. Stay continued. Stay tuned type deal.
And when she says cool, she means the 80s cool, not the actual temperature, because it is hot in there.
Oh, honey, we hot.
Depending on where you are in that level, I mean, that was really cool. You mentioned it, like you're going to walk in here and it hits you, the smell hits you, the temperature hits you, but then as you move throughout that room, the difference in the temperature actually was very obvious.
Of course.
It's pretty crazy.
And that is one of the things that I like to actually showcase to people is because you're right next to a window when you first walk into that loft, correct? So you're going to hit that high humidity, that high temp. So you're going to feel like you were sitting at, let's say, Arizona level, 110. Yeah. And then you move 15 feet west. And you're like, oh, this is fine. You hit the middle of the room and you're like, oh, this feels really good. And then you meet that west side of the building. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, we have now met the humidity meter where it's more wet. It's not as hot, but we are definitely feeling that humidity level. So you're gonna be right there back at that 86 degrees at all times. So it is very different, which is why we can explain at a different date, while we have the barrel sitting at a different temperature and different place in that warehouse loft.
So we're going to dive into the pick now as we get toward the end here. They gave us 6 originally. Personally, 2 was the best, but 4 ultimately won out.
It did.
They added 2 more with the mocha stave, which, you know, I hear mocha, that's like the only coffee I'll let you drink. Can you give a quick synopsis on when I say mocha stave, what that means with what we tasted?
Of course. So what it's going to be like a piece of wood. So think of like a cinnamon stick, right? So think of a cinnamon stick that's going to be a French white oak stave. So think of a piece of French white oak, mocha flavored, that we're going to put into the bourbon or whiskey that we're flavoring for about 3 months. And then after that, we're going to take it back out and we're going to age it for another 3 months, let it aerate, do its thing, make all of those flavors incorporate with what's already going on in that barrel, and then we're going to actually allow it to actually be bottled. So that's what a mocha stave is.
I mean, and they were really good. Well, when we tried on the tour, wasn't quite there yet. I think that was kind of mentioned. It was,
Oh, we needed about a year. We needed a year on that.
But it was neat to taste that first, and then for you to provide those two on the back end that were there.
Yeah.
Because you could taste the difference.
Oh,
That
big.
was really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Because for someone who's never had it before, like, oh, can you tell? Yeah, sure.
Oh, with the mochas? Absolutely. Yeah.
So then she surprised us with these toasted options, and we ended up landing with number 10 as the final option. Came down between 4 and 10, with 2 kind of, the 2 is right here. But tell us about what we went with. So 10 is toasted, double toasted.
Which was a very big extra for them because they were big on a wheat whiskey.
Yeah.
And or a single barrel Tennessee whiskey.
Because wheat are in the heater. You have to have wheat in the
Oh, absolutely. Not only that, but it's what is most popular at the moment.
Yeah.
Especially going into summer, wheat whiskey is always there, right? So we wanted to start them off with a wheat whiskey, whether it be a Huling Station brand, which is us, and then Old Dominick. We gave them that, gave them different proofage, and then we gave them a single barrel Tennessee whiskey, which was fine. We still stuck with a wheat whiskey, correct?
Yes.
And then I tasted them blindly on a A&B mocha. We settled with that second mocha stave. And then from there, we went into what they did not ask for, but if we're going to go mocha, we're going to go double toasted, which is what I have learned as somebody that does barrel picks and somebody that is allowed to help people decide on what they like. We're going to go double toasted. So I gave them a blind tasting on a double toasted note as well. And we went from liking that second mocha to we do not like the mocha at all. And we're going to go with that second double toasted barrel that we tasted. And I think that we got stuck with it was number 4. So that Huling Station wheat whiskey, and then that second double toasted whiskey as well, correct?
Correct.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. And there was complete different flavor profile in those. Was it not?
Very different, yes.
Would you like to explain what those differences with y'all? Because you stuck with number 2 on your...
2 is still better.
Yeah, with your old fashioned, you have number 2 in your glass.
Yeah. I mean...
He does. You have number 6.
Yeah.
I have to give him that.
So number 4's nose was phenomenal for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a very easy on the palate, nose palate. But for me, the taste-wise didn't match, and that mismatch just didn't sit well.
Especially with number 2, because there was a big difference in those.
Correct.
Yes.
And so I'm not smart enough to be able to explain why, but I just talk about what it was. So 2 ended up being a higher proof.
It did.
And
it said at 122 compared to the 118.
Yeah. So that 4 is a huge difference.
Very big difference.
But then we came to the toasted. I mean, the number 10 is what I'm calling it. Did not dislike it all. It was great, and I didn't like any other. Did not like the other ones. I mentioned we were splitting hairs, and I got the receipts to prove it. The numbers weren't that far off.
No.
But just from the comparison standpoint of what provided that flavor the best, for me was that 2 and 10, and I'm not unhappy at all with going to 10. I think the 10 is going to be very popular. The fact that we're saying it's double toasted, that is just going to add that depth of flavor too.
And we're going to go from that char to explain double toasted.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to go from my char level 4 barrel, rebottle it into a different barrel that's going to be at a char level 1 and 2, correct? There we go. Just so y'all know what a double toasted did, because double toast is not an actual term that we use. You would go toasted, right? But at Old Dominick, we use double toasted, just kind of give a little ring-a-ding to it. So that's exactly what that means.
Okay. No, and it's got that finish that adds a smoothness to it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Even though it's so, am I wrong in remembering? It's a little higher proof than 4, right? Is it 2 off?
We're going 10 to 4?
10 to 4. Is
10
it
to 4.
116?
Let me actually make sure that I do not want to actually tell you wrong. I don't know if we're going to go to 10 to 4. 10 was only 118.
118.
And then we had 2 at 122. Let's look at 4. I feel like 4 was at 117. 116. You were right. You're right, brother. You're right.
A few drinks, but I still remember.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
All right. That's purely for the camera.
Yeah, so 10's at 118. 4 is going to be at 116.
But because of the extra toast, the double toasted, I think it drinks lower than that.
We get that richness. Yes. Also in coloring, did y'all notice that when y'all did that blind tasting? You have a little bit more of an amber color right there on the end with that 10.
Agreed. So, I mean, overall, I'm obviously ecstatic with our choice. I think that this is going to be something that people are going to want to come back to. You're going to taste it and you go, you know what? That's going to be great. And so I'm excited. From an Old Dominick standpoint, those that are listening, those that are listening to it, and like, should I go to Memphis? How do you answer that? You should.
Always come to Memphis. Are you kidding me?
Yes, of course. Blues, yeah, but Old Dominick, Memphis, should they come?
Absolutely. Not only do we have like a very big variety of what you just tasted today, we have a very big variety of what you can taste, get an experience of, but not only that, but you get the vibrance of that soul, that spirit that Memphis is known for, especially here in this distillery. Everybody here is going to give you a whole different spiel on history and or tour-wise, right?
Yeah.
Either way you go, you're going to get that soul, you're going to get that spirit with everybody you have.
Yeah.
Not only is that something that is cool to experience, but you want to experience.
It's an amazing building.
Oh yeah.
The thought that goes into the way things are laid out, it was really cool. The architecture person in me that I wanted to be as a kid, really, just the thought that went into it was really cool.
Well, so, as you know, we tore down 3 walls, right?
Yeah. I know that.
Yeah, we kept the stuff we needed to keep because this was Andrew Michael's first restaurant down here, which was the Grey Canary. Then you got Catherine and Mary's.
That's really cool.
This is the Roost. This was the Grey Canary before he left here. Yeah, we call it the Roost. So you're in the Roost right now. But yeah, he moved there. But yeah, this was that.
Really cool. All right, so I think we have more to come because Brittney has just peeled back the onion a little bit for Old Dominick. But I have kept her way past her time.
You're fine.
And so I thank you for sitting down with us
and
sharing the history and the love behind this brand.
Of course.
And if you are in a store, preferably A1 Wine and Spirits, and looking at the vast amount of whiskeys and bourbons that are available, I would definitely steer you toward that Old Dominick brand and think about this is the one that you should taste. So check it out. So thank you very much for your time.
You're very welcome.
I really appreciate it.
No problem.
We'll do some more in the future.
Of course.
It's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad you had a good time. Thanks, guys.
All right. Well, that brings this episode and that conversation to a close. Hopefully you enjoyed learning all about Old Dominick. Brittney was fantastic. She was a great tour guide, great host, and just was a mountain of information, great energy. You could tell she really loved the product, and we appreciate her enthusiasm and support as we went through this process and really chose a fantastic barrel. So thank you for that. Thank you, Brittney, for taking the time to sit down with me and sharing with our audience, because that was fantastic. Listeners, thank you for dealing with the audio issues on my end, but again, she came through loud and clear, so hopefully you got to learn a lot about Old Dominick. If you've listened to the first 2 seasons, I hope you have. We have introduced 10 different distilleries over those 2 seasons, and typically follow a informational history episode of the distillery, and then we come in with a tasting episode. Well, we're not going to do that this time. This one is just an information from Brittney and Old Dominic because we went there and did a barrel pick. We did all the tastings. We didn't record that because we kind of wanted to keep that. We weren't bringing home a lot of stuff, and you weren't going to be able to try a lot of the stuff. But what you can do is head over to A1 Wine and Spirits in St. Peter's and grab this barrel pick. It is fantastic. And again, if you're a member of St. Charles Bourbon Society, either level, $3.75 or $7.50, you get $5 off. So definitely head over there, pick it up. I've got one bottle already. It's halfway gone already. We'll be picking up another one tomorrow when we release it to the public on June 11th. Who knows how long it'll last. I believe it produced 70 bottles, I believe. So as soon as those are gone, that's all we'll have. So go check it out. Thanks for listening. We have the next distillery already recorded and ready to roll out, and so I'm excited to bring all of the distilleries to you this year. We will have at least 5 new ones, with Old Dominic being our first. So enjoy, subscribe, share, and until our next episode, continue to sip wisely.